Hello, my name is Weston and welcome to The Lighter the Darker. Today we got some board game news, mostly talking about crowdfunding projects, so if that isn't your thing, here's your preface. Fortunately, it's just how most board games are showcased and highlighted these days, so that's how we're going to go over them, and that's what we'll do. Jumping right into it. I do just want to thank one of our new subscribers that I just saw your name pop up. Emmanuel, thank you so much for joining The Lighter the Darker. I'd love to hear your favorite board game. And also, if you have subscribed to the channel and I haven't said your name, it's just because it won't tell me. So just go ahead and comment, and I'd love to engage with you because this is a channel that's built on community and I really need a community to do that. So please let me know your thoughts. And let's get into the news. Of course, if you are coming back, I want to thank you personally. I do say this frequently, but we are very humbled by this experience. I mean, I just really want to burn off a lot of excess energy and excitement I feel about this hobby that I just can't talk about regularly in my life. And it's so fun that people do want to watch this. Even if it was just a group of 5, I think it would be so extremely exciting, and the fact that it's just a little bit more than that is even more so. So thank you so much for being here. Now to waste more of your time, no, I'm just kidding. I'm shrinking. Okay, all right, coming down here, we have our first project. That was terrifying. My body went through a process that I don't think anybody has. Has anybody medically, physically ever shrunk like that? And we're just gonna go over it? Alright, whatever. The first one is Yield by BFF Games. Now, Yield actually got on my radar by the Hungry Gamer. He reviewed it, and honestly, it totally flown by that this was BFF Games, the creator of Hidden Leaders, one of our absolute favorite small box games. We have the Kickstarter edition as well as the expansion. They actually just came out with it for just a few months ago. And we can see that it is traditional BFF art. Just really, really cool. I don't know. I've always loved the aesthetic. I've loved the way that they've thought out of the box with characters in Hidden Leaders like the queer quartermaster all the way to like death itself. It's just very fun and interesting. And I honestly haven't seen any artwork like BFF Games. Now, this game is very different than Hidden Leaders. And honestly, that excites me so much more because this is a army activating, conquering, and overall like a fighting game. Which is my favorite kind of games, and I don't want to say a term that is so restrictive because Hidden Leaders, I cannot fit that in a genre. Like, I can't. You have some hidden role, you have some other stuff, but that's why I'm gonna say it's a fighting game, it looks like, where you have your specific battle cards, your specific characters that you play with, and honestly, we have so many of these games, and I still want so many more. I'm really glad that they still haven't been making minis. I love minis, but their meeples are very nice and fun, and I love the look of these armies. I don't find it a problem that's like repeated sculpts. So looks like you get a good bit, and there's even an expansion which adds 10 additional asymmetric powers, saying that there's already a bunch of asymmetrical powers in this. I am gonna see if I can totally convince Natalie if we can get this, because I don't know if Kickstarter outside of Mythic Battles EastFet has excited me this much in the past couple months. And I'm so surprised that it has actually been out for a little enough to get 40K for a pretty indie studio. I'm so grateful for this video right here. I'm sure you know of the Hungry Gamer, but he just shows off again just the beauty and the really, really interesting, totally original mechanics that BFF Games likes to introduce. Next, we're talking about Blood, which I had briefly talked about this in my last video, but the Kickstarter had not become live yet. There's a lot of coverage of this game, especially Board Game Co. A few other people have done such a wonderful job. This game looks sick. I'm just gonna say it. I mean, it's Lewis Magnus Studios. It looks so absolutely appealing, and they've always done such a good job with that. The question you want to always ask yourself with these big, beautiful games is like, does this fit in your collection? Because Lewis Magnus Studios, they make incredible games, but this is going to be a boss battler. And it's going to be a vampiric boss battler, obviously. And as we talked about, they are using a lot of this colored plastic. That's just a preview. Look at this design, though. So cool. I don't want to just, like, geek over it. I also want to talk about things that, like... Because this is not cheap. This is this is expensive. It's expensive because it's very high quality. And this is one of those games that, like, you probably just need a few... at most in your collection. I am stunned by this miniature and this design. So beautiful. Vlad Tepes III. Wow. They're doing such a good job with this. I've always been such a fan of Lewis Magnus. And the looks, you know, are perfect. For me, the black and white and red, absolutely perfect. There's a lot of darker games out on Kickstarter right now, as we'll talk about Odalin, and as I talked about in my past news stories. But this one isn't just straight up, like, horror, or as Odalin is more, like, demonic themed. It's more of the vampire, which I really like. Dark academia, you know, the gothic feeling of this is very fun. I don't know how much I like... This guy's a playable character, that's good. I don't know how much I love the, like, clown and carnival aesthetic they're going for with the main characters, the playable characters, but, as talking about here, that's never ever been my favorite aesthetic, but gameplay-wise, it has looked very good so far. Board Game Co. is a very sound opinion, in my opinion, and he seemed to like this a lot more than The Breach, which was one of their last Kickstarters, where I heard a lot of hesitancy about that. I honestly will really want this game. I probably can't afford it right now, to be honest, but secondhand, I will absolutely get it in a heartbeat if I'm able to. Next, we're talking about Odalin Dungeons of Doom by Dragoni Games, which I love. Dragoni Games. I love Tenaris Adventures and Arena of the Contest. We think this game is really fascinating, and it's a totally different gameplay, especially according to King of Average, than Arena of the Contest, Tenaris Adventures. So it would be, if you already have those, this will fit in your collection. And they're using this idea of you kind of have a regular hero, and then they unleash this different form. There's a lot of different games that have done this, and I actually really like the idea of it. Its most simplest form was done with, there we go, casting shadows is the most, like, simplest form in this game, or of this idea, which the creators of, like, Here to Slay made that game. We had it for a little bit, but sold it. But I think it's a very, very fun idea. And if you want huge, beautiful minis and good gameplay, this is your company, I will say. Some of this looks really cool, but again, we kind of have to be like really careful with how much money we're spending, and we just went all in on Mythic Battles Eastfet, so we'll see. This is a smaller game called Jomvikings, and it's a tactical card game with deck building elements, and it's set in an amazing world of spacefaring Vikings. So Jomvikings caught my eye because Board Game Co. went over it, but also the Jomvikings are a character in Mythic Battles Ragnarok, but this is mixing it with sci-fi. And I think that this is a very cool little indie game. It sounds like it's not as like story based, but just tactical fighting, which I like. I like the idea of tactical fighting. It says the mechanics is loosely based on the classic game of blackjack, which is very interesting. You can see that a few people have already talked about this, but I wanted to highlight this because I think this looks so cool, and honestly, for 40 euro, that's not that bad. Is that the only one you can do? And then you'd get all these minis? Well, we'll find out eventually. Alright, so Star Beast is another very smaller indie game that is coming out with, again, a sci-fi theme. Star Beast is more of an exploratory game, from what I understood. Use your hero model to complete missions, but it's not an adventure game. So I think you're fighting against each other while exploring the universe. It comes with mostly these tokens and I think standees, but you do get a single miniature, which is pretty cool. This is going to be coming out in one day, in 13 hours. So I have a lot of hope for these people. I think they're a first-time creator. Let's make sure of that. Yep, first-time creator. So go ahead and check them out if that seems up your alley. I love talking about first-time creators. This is not a first-time game or a creator either, right? Yeah, these guys have, I thought, maybe done Kemet before, since 2005 or whatever. Captain Sonar, Room 25, gotcha. Yeah, they did Kemet before. They're coming back with Kemet. If Egyptian area control sounds interesting to you, this is the most original form of it, and it looks like they are redoing it with these beautiful, beautiful components. Wow. I love the Egyptian aesthetic, and I love area control, but we do have Ankh. Kemet is very original. Kemet and Cyclades are both games that very much inspired Blood Rage, Ankh, Rising Sun, just original staple area control games. And they also have redone Cyclades with this same, you know, high quality, newer, you know, big Kickstarter recreation of it. So it makes sense that they're doing this with Kemet as well, but it looks very cool. Everybody who's probably been in this genre is familiar, but looks like they're introducing some new features as well, which solo mode seems pretty interesting. Solo and area control, I've never felt like super excited about, but should be interesting. All right, this is another huge game that a lot of people are very excited for. I honestly am not the biggest superhero fan, but one of our subscribers mentioned this game and was excited about it. I do like Simon. They've had a, not like a squeaky clean past, everybody knows this, but they make good games, and a lot of people love loved the Marvel United. It just like really, really blew up. So the people who have been waiting for the DC, I'm sure this is just so huge for them. I did have Batman Gotham City Chronicles by Monolith and loved it. I loved that game. We ended up selling it so that I could get Mythic Battles. But that's like, it almost created a love for superhero games by me interacting and playing with Batman Gotham City Chronicles. Next, we have Ascension Legends, another very well-known system. One of our favorite games is Ascension Tactics. And it's because we have the miniature version, obviously. But I think they are obviously keep going into the card game and the deck building side of things, but this says it returns with an all new standalone expansion designed for both newcomers and longtime fans of specifically the deck building part of the game. So that seems pretty fun. I was so overwhelmingly impressed with Ascension Tactics that I do have an interest in the Ascension deck building game for sure, but I don't like know anybody who would want to play it with me, and I have a lot of other games that are a little bit higher on my list right now. Next we have Ronin Warrior, the samurai board game, and there's a small preview of this here, but I love the Japanese aesthetic and samurais and ninjas, as you know, honestly my favorite theme for a board game, and they do have more here on their BGG page. It says that Ronin Warrior is inspired by the 47 Ronin in Japan's Sengoku period. In the 2-in-1 board game, there are two separate modes to play. Ronin Warrior Vengeance is a solo cooperative campaign game, while Ronin Warrior Rising is a strategic war game that features various buildings and units that players can construct and train across the map. Oh, I think I just got chills. I love strategic war games, and I love samurai strategic war games, and we can see that it's, you know, got some miniatures. That's a plus for me. It's not the only thing. They have 1,500 followers, and this is also a totally new creator as well. So I am most likely, when that comes out, whenever that is, going to be getting it. The last, I'm going to talk about another huge game that you probably know about, but The Story of Many. It's another game that I've seen this Kickstarter page quite a few times. I've seen people talk about it because there's so many story games. I mean, it's almost like sickening to a point how many like story games, dungeon crawlers, all that there are. And it's so hard to actually specifically choose with this little bit of money, which one do I want? But I want to highlight this game because of what they are claiming. This isn't your normal story or adventure game, and I really took time to look at the page because I was like, if there's 10,000 people following this, there's probably something very interesting. It says, create your hero, explore the land, choose wisely. We've heard this, you know, it has over 400,000 words of adventure text. You know, we've heard a lot of things like that. I love the way these guys look. It's not enough to like get me into the game, but they say here that there's 56 unique regions, 200 plus rumors, 40 plus adventures, 180 unique monsters. So those are not just like the same sculpts, the same monsters, unique monsters, fast and engaging strategic combat. You know, this is looking a lot more like maybe something big like Kingdom Death Monster or like Aeon Trespass Odyssey, kind of big. I started getting those feelings looking at this artwork, and these classes look so cool. I'm getting honestly some Oblivion vibes, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, looking at the fighter and the ninja and the pirate. 72 weapons. I mean, this seems like it's gonna be really big. So it says 60 plus miniatures, saying that you will have standees for those monsters, most likely. But this seems like it's going to be big, and when it goes live, I guess that's when we'll know how truly big it is. And also, want to mention, these guys are a brand new creator, so that's exciting. It also comes with its risks, obviously, but let me know if there's been any game that you didn't know about that you're now excited for, or any game that you would like us to cover here. My name is Weston, and this has been The Liar the Darker. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.